Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Channel Claire. I hope that you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy, crazy world. Now, I feel like I just put a video up talking about how Bethenny and Luann are back being friends together and they have squashed their feud. I'm looking here, that was about 20 hours ago, okay? Came and went because apparently now Luann is letting us know that it was all a lie. An absolute lie, and it was just for clout on Bethenny Frankel's part. She says she is hurt and she used their reunion just for clout. And apparently, Bethenny still has Luann blocked, which in itself is just, they're crazy. They have known each other for years, have worked together for years. I know it was bad, but I didn't know it was like that deep. But apparently it is because Luann is talking to Page Six and letting them know they're still on the outs, and it's not quite as we have expected. We also are going to be talking about and or kind of reviewing Bethany's latest podcast. Okay. I don't know. Let me just say off the bat, like Bethany and Nene, Kenya, Portia, like when Teresa, like when I think housewives, Ramona, Sonia, when I think housewives, like she's up there with like the greats for me, Bethany is. And she's always intrigued me. I like her wit, the fast talking. She's very self-aware, but kind of not at the same time. So I go between liking her and feeling like she does entirely too much, which she does a lot of the times. But she does intrigue me. And she has this podcast where she has let us know about her 10 plus year divorce with Jason Hoppy and everything that she went through with that. She was getting detailed with us. At one point, she kind of had to put it on pause because it was getting a little bit too deep. And then she brought it back up. She's really been revealing a lot of what she's just dealing with in her life. She's on TikTok constantly. She shared about the loss of her mother, whom she was very estranged from. Like, I feel like I know the woman's whole life. And she's been on the screen for years on Real Housewives of New York, if you watched and followed the seasons. So, you know, I have been listening to her podcast, and she just posted one talking about now the fact that it's been out that her and Paul, her ex-fiance, broke up. They were together for like 6 years. I forget how long they were engaged, but they were together for like 6 years. That's a long time, especially as you like get older. I hear that like once you get older, you kind of move things along quicker and you like kind of seal the deal a little bit quicker. What do I know? I don't know. I don't have a ring. I don't have shit. So, Bethenny, she's broken up, right? And she sees all these articles. I know I saw the articles. If you follow any of this stuff, you've probably seen the articles of Paul and his new chick and everything like that, them canoodling and hanging out. And so she decides, you know, she was quiet for a little bit. I was very proud of Bethenny. I was shocked actually that she hadn't said anything, but she sat tight, quiet for a little bit, but she couldn't resist. She dropped a podcast today, so we'll kind of do like a review of that with Bethenny revealing her side of things and how she feels. But I just also wanted to give a rounded out, you know, update that Luann and Bethenny actually are still on the outs, because 20 hours ago I just let you guys know that their feud was squashed and it's just complete drama. Bethenny, unblock Luann, just unblock the girl. Like, and I didn't know social media was that deep and people cared about follows and who's blocked and not blocked, but I guess it gets touchy. It's like that. It's serious. And it means something if you're not following this person. And, you know, even though they had this human in real life interaction, you know, with Bryn and everything, and she's Luann saying she's using Bryn for clout, even though they had this in real life interaction, it still doesn't matter because it's not official online. That's where we are in 2024. If there's not pics, did it happen? If we're not friends on IG, is it real? Like, that's the type of shit we're in right now. It's just, it's absolute madness. I wonder if when like the creators of the internet, like if they, when they created the internet, I forget who created the internet. Was it Bill Gates? I don't know. Whoever created the internet, I wonder if they thought it would be used for what we use it here now, with like all the memes and, Twitter and all the junk we talk on there. Did they think and really, is this the use? Was that a vision and idea they had for the internet, for like the shit posting, the complete insanity that goes on the wild, wild west that we call the interwebs? But let's get into this podcast with Bethenny. I started listening to it a little bit and I was like, oh my God, this chick Bethenny is really something. But as she said, on Real Housewives of New York, mention it all. And she's stayed true to that. She mentions it all. She gives it all. She tells it all. But that's what I kind of like about the older ladies, well, the OG ladies, is that they're real, they're authentic. Although it may be crazy, although she may be making herself look a type of way, I feel like she's being authentically Bethenny, and this is just how she's reacting and how she's feeling. And I don't know how it would be if my, breakup was all public for everybody. Like, I would be tripping too. So I see grace in that. I see understanding in that, and so I'm going into this with that respect as well, and also the respect for the authenticity of these ladies in Bethenny, just to like be her whacked out self sometimes, because we're all a little whacked out sometimes. Like, if we're being real, we can all be a little whack at times. So let's get into this. Let me see. I'm going to actually share this one. One moment. Technical difficulties. JK. It's not a difficulty. Let me just get it on here. I'm going to share this one because this is allegedly, the new chick, Aurora Copa, that Paul, Bethenny's ex-fiance, is dating. It's apparently serious. So, and they've been seen out and about, and Paul has been seen out, canoodling, making out with her and whatnot. So let's see what Bethenny has to say about this whole scenario. Did not want to listen to the music. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Wow. Mine was a roller coaster. So I went through a really traumatic loss of my mother. And it was right after I was revisiting my horrible divorce. And yes, then I went through a breakup.
Okay, so there we kind of get the timeline. She was doing the podcast, talking about the divorce, dredging up all those memories and all of that trauma. And then her mom passes. And yet, while they weren't close, it's still your mom, which is deep shit. And then, right after that, her and Paul break up. So that's a lot of big shit and dredged up trauma and emotions, one after the other. Like, my goodness.
It was something that I kept to myself. It was something that I mourned on my own, and I did therapy and I did the work, and I just didn't feel like it needed to be shared. It was a breakup that I wanted to process alone, privately, and I didn't feel that I owed anybody any explanation.
No, and I definitely understand that. You don't owe anybody an explanation when you break up, like, especially if you're with somebody for a long time. Like, getting into that with anybody is just like, you can't even comprehend. So I definitely understand her wanting to just have that alone and have that moment and kind of sit in what was her new reality, and not deal with the outside noise. Like, I could not imagine.
And the breakup was something that I initiated. I wasn't happy. Something needed to change. It was certainly mutual.
So that is a question I had. I wondered if it was Paul who broke up with her, because sometimes I would see Paul on like her TikToks and like her videos, and Bethany's very animated. She talks fast. She goes from one thing to the other, this and another. Like, it's a lot of high energy, and he just seemed like the exact opposite of that. And sometimes she would like pan the camera over to him, and he seemed like annoyed. So I almost, in a way, when I heard about the breakup, I almost thought it was initiated by Paul. But Bethany is saying it was initiated by her.
The relationship had its challenges, and nobody dumped anybody. But I went through it. I was scared because of my past and my abandonment issues. I get very scared when there's any sort of change in someone you depend on and someone that you love. But I knew that it was ultimately the right thing. And I really made peace with it, and I was happy. I was thriving, and I was surviving. I was looking good, feeling good. I was
because
in therapy.
it definitely didn't see a drop in her TikToks or anything the fuck else. She didn't seem like a breakup was going to happen. She seemed perfectly fine, but like she said, she was ready for it. She wanted it. She felt it was right. So, what do you do?
Wasn't medicating with men. I wasn't distracting.
Medicating with men.
I was comfortable being alone. I was in a place that I had decided I wanted to be. And I was happy and strong, enjoying the summer with my daughter. And then I get hit with an onslaught of articles. Now, let me review. When we first broke up, there was an article saying that my ex was publicly making out with a woman. And that's how people assumed that we broke up. I didn't clarify anything.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. And then, like I said previously, she didn't say shit, which I was shocked about. I was really shocked about. But she is... Hold up.
And then I get hit with an onslaught of articles.
Yeah, I really can't imagine being like famous or known, I guess, where like you could just be living your life, and the next thing you know, you get Google or someone starts texting you, or then you get another text and people are telling you some shit has dropped or something has happened. Like, anxiety overload. All these people are talking about you, and they probably don't even know what the hell actually took place. And then you start wondering, okay, so who is telling these people this? Who's the source? Who's the mole? Why would that person go and be telling Page Six X, Y, and Z? Like, your mind must be at a complete overload, and I just think that would be super heavy and a lot to deal with. So like, while, you know, being famous or being on Housewives or being well known, like, sounds all good, kind of, sort of. Actually, it doesn't sound good at all. But like, you could have the wealth of it all. Like, that sounds great, but you're getting like also a shit end of the stick where people like are all in your business 24/7. Like, granted, in this business, like, Bethenny here is putting this out here, so of course we're going to talk about it. Can't talk about it. She wants people to know what's going on. But like, I just feel like, ooh, it's just a lot. It's just a lot to have all these eyes on you and people talking about your shit constantly.
Now, let me review. When we first broke up, there was an article saying that my ex was publicly making out with a woman. And that's how people assumed that we broke up. I didn't clarify anything. I wasn't even upset. I just was dealing with my own issues, and that was a blip on the radar. It was not good judgment based on the fact that I'm a public person, but I was really focusing on myself.
Yeah, she
and then
should.
Last week, I started to see my name in headlines being portrayed as the jilted ex who had been upgraded from, that my ex had moved on from me with a younger woman, and
that's what it is.
It regurgitated the continuous narrative that he is a very under the radar person who had now gotten serious with someone, had a girlfriend, met her family, met her kids. She had met his...
Okay, so now it makes sense. She feels a type of way because the way it was presented, because she honestly was doing a good job. The best way to have like shown Paul that like he ain't shit is to just not say a fucking word at all. And I think she was going along a great track of not saying anything, because that really would have showed him like, you ain't shit. However, she feels now to do the podcast and say something because the way it's presented of making it seem like she's like some jilted ex and she's the one who was left behind and he's upgraded to this younger chick who is so much better than Bethenny. And, this is the single woman, she's older, always having these issues. Like the way it's presented, I definitely get it. So now she feels the need to kind of protect herself, like, and defend herself, because you're not about to put me off in that way. She's like, hey, I was happy, I was thriving, I was living my life, this is something that I initiated, and now y'all are going to turn around and try to make it sound like I'm the one who's jilted, he's the one who's gotten the upgrade off of me. I don't think so. So that's where Bethenny is coming from.
His kids, he was in a serious relationship, he had bought her presents, and they were a new unit. And the media person who had now gotten serious with someone, had a girlfriend, met her family, met her kids. She had met his kids. He was in a serious relationship. He had bought her presents and they were a new unit. And the media presented me as some sort of spinster that's just home crying.
She knows all of this about the meeting of the families, how they met, because she's been reading these articles. Like, it's okay to I feel like it's okay to read the headline. Okay, people are sending you shit. Okay, it's up on your Google alert. Read the headline, but then to read in depth the article and get all the nitty gritty details to the point where you can list it off to us here on the podcast. I'm like, Bethenny, I'm sure that didn't help your feelings either. I'm sure.
Suffering a breakup and watching this new transition. When in fact, I was really happy. I was really happy. But when you get hit with headlines that are explaining the details of a new relationship in quotes that have been placed by people, when it's basically saying, Paul's a very under the radar guy, that indicates that I'm an over the radar girl and that he couldn't handle the relationship. When, like I said,
Bethenny, you're definitely not under the radar. You're you are kind of over the radar. You're on TikTok all the time. You have your podcast. You are a housewife, one of the best housewives. You talk fast, you're loud. You are very much over the radar. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's just, you weren't his cup of tea, and or he wasn't your cup of tea. So that's okay. It's okay that you're over the radar, which is what she happened to actually name this podcast episode, Over the Radar. Claim it. Be it. Own it.
The breakup was initiated by me. It was mutual, and I was upset by it and scared about it towards the end and unsure, but it's something that I ultimately was happy about. It wasn't a relationship I wanted to be in, and it wasn't a person that I wanted to be with, to be honest.
Bethenny said I was happy about it. I really didn't want to be with him. Now she's kind of sounding a little I don't want to say bitter, but you don't have to go into I didn't really like him anymore. I didn't want to be with him, in response to him now being out and being, noted to be with this new girl and they're in this relationship. It's okay, Bethenny, to just say it hurts, it sucks. I wonder if Paul's going to respond to this at all. But like she said, he's so under the radar, I guess that he wouldn't. But she's just yeah. I didn't want to be with him anyway, so I was actually happy that it ended up like this, and us breaking up. Fuck him.
For many reasons that I really had to come to terms with.
For many reasons.
Everyone has experienced breaking up with someone and then hearing about them with someone else. We've all been there. Now times that by 100, because you're reading it all day, every day in articles. People are messaging you. People are asking you if you're okay. You're going through
that is a
breakup again.
That's a lot.
Now read quotes from people.
But don't read the articles.
Directly saying Paul moved on from Beth.
I thought that was a thing in Hollywood, or if you're famous, or if you're this one. I thought that they didn't read the articles. I thought they didn't read the comments, but apparently they do. And come to think of it, a lot of the stuff we see written on Twitter and whatnot, I know they probably are seeing all of that stuff, because I remember watching the Vanderpump reunion, I think it was, and somebody said somebody was living in the comments. I think it was Sheena was living in the comments. Like, they get sucked in and they just, search their name and start reading comment after comment after comment. And I'm like, that can't be healthy. That cannot be healthy, and to like actively seek that out. But then I'm like, it's also human nature to want to know what people think about you. So it's just catch 22.
And he very quickly, he's met her family, he's met her kids, she's met his kids. They had sex all weekend. They committed to each other on the first
Bethenny,
date.
You were all in those articles.
It was endless. It was insane. It's like you're inside someone else's relationship and you didn't ask for any of this.
In the okay, but Bethenny, you did not have to read all the articles to know they was having sex and everything like that. Or somebody read the article and retold it to you with all the details to the point you're knowing about them having sex. Like, you did not have to do that to yourself.
Is talking about this.
But if I'm being real, I kind of get it, because I probably would have read that shit too.
Very publicly. So she's sharing all of the details of their brand new relationship that has been happening for 6 weeks, right after a 6-year relationship. And I will never get into the details of our breakup, but it certainly was shocking. It was definitely shocking, and it's embarrassing.
We'll get another, 10 years from now, we're going to get another breakup engagement podcast, and she's going to let us all know what happened with her and Paul, just like we got with Jason Hoppy. Fingers crossed.
Hearing about your ex-fiance committing to another woman shortly thereafter on their first date, and then
committing to each other shortly. So hold up. He was in a 6-year relationship. They broke up not too long ago, gets with this other lady, and then they have a first date and commit to each other on that first date. That, Bethenny, in itself, I wouldn't even fucking worry about it. That shit ain't gonna work out. That's too much. For him as a man to jump from one relationship into another relationship just like that without sowing his oats at all, And then the fact that she's saying she really wanted to not be with him because of really a lot of reasons that she had to come to terms with. Yeah, I wouldn't even sweat this, Bethenny, because that just sounds like a rebound, in my opinion. Because men, they don't like to sit in their emotions and feel what it is that's happening. They like to just go and get with somebody else to go get them off, to kind of distract them and take their minds off of the real feelings and emotions that they're having. So I really don't think this is going to last.
Their sex and their gifts and meeting each other's kids.
Talk about their sex again. And then meeting each other's kids that soon? That's a little much. Given the fact that her and Paul were engaged, it's not like they were just boyfriend, girlfriend. They were engaged, and then you just meet this chick, apparently, supposedly. Who knows if they knew each other prior. And then you're going to up and be committing yourself to each other, seeing each other's kids and families. That's moving way too fast. And they're then putting it out there to kind of counteract, hey, you were with him for 6 years, had this long engagement, and it didn't work out. But see, he's going with this other lady, and they're moving fast, family, kids, everything like that, committed to each other so fast. That means the problem was you and not him. And I feel like that's what this whole ordeal is, that she feels like they're trying to point the finger at her. And she's like, it's not me. Trust, it's not me. But who knows what happens behind closed doors.
Commitment was gutting. It was brutal. The one thing that was difficult was constantly reading the headline that my ex is under the radar, making him the hero and me the villain. Isn't the woman always the villain? The spinster, the old maid.
That is true.
The one upgraded from, the crazy one.
Yeah.
In this case, the one who must be over the radar. When ironically, I was the one who was very much under the radar. And I just want to say that I'm okay. I mean, it was rough because I had to experience the same breakup twice, but way worse the second time because I had to hear about all these details.
Yeah.
And
everybody's opinions.
I do let the truth get in the way of a good story. I am in therapy. I am working on myself. I am confident. I am single. I am independent. I am happy.
Okay,
and
girl.
I will survive this. The only thing I'll leave you with is, as a woman, I think we have to think about the other woman in any situation. So if you're the new woman in a relationship, I think you have to tread lightly and be cautious about whoever the woman before you was, because we've all been...
Please. They do not care. They do not care. She's basically trying to say that this Aurora Copa chick needs to tread lightly. And she's telling all this business because basically she's saying it's coming from her to Page 6 and all these outlets. You need to tread lightly and think about the woman that came before you, because you could be that woman very soon. JK, she didn't say that. I'm saying that. Aurora could be in Bethenny's place very soon. So tread lightly and think about the other woman that came before you.
Both positions. And I think the other woman in any situation. So if you're the new woman in a relationship, I think you have to tread lightly and be cautious about whoever the woman before you was, because we've all been in both positions. And I think by sharing all the details of your new relationship, you're disrespecting the last relationship. And I learned a lot during this experience.
You can't control what people are going to say and or do. I don't necessarily think it's a disrespect to her relationship, because, this new chick doesn't owe Bethenny anything. Paul and her are done. They've moved on. And if it was vice versa and Bethenny wanted to talk about her relationship and it was out in the, in the outlets, which it probably would because she's high profile, would she be feeling the same way? I don't know. I definitely get how she feels internally, the emotions behind it. I feel that that's true, but realistically in real life, logically, it's just not realistic. They're allowed to talk and say whatever they want to say and do. Does it look a little, pressed to me? Yeah. But they can talk about it, and I don't think it's necessarily disrespectful to the relationship she had with Paul.
A lot. I didn't take the bait. I stayed quiet.
Bethenny, you're now taking the bait. That's the issue, though. She's saying, I didn't take the bait. I stayed quiet, but you did take the bait, because you've now made a 20-minute podcast about it. You took the bait.
By sharing all the details of your new relationship, you're disrespecting the last relationship. And I learned a lot during this experience. I'm sure this woman has learned a lot. I didn't take the bait. I stayed quiet. I just let it play out, and it was really, really rough. And I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of the way that I handled it. And I think this woman has learned a lot too. And I think that everybody lost in this situation, because their actions cost them their relationship, which was brand new, and who knows what would have happened.
Hold up. Bethenny, that's really back. That's really back. She just said everyone lost in this scenario. Their actions or her actions made them lose their relationship. What, are they not together now because these articles are out? Do you know something, Bethenny? Why are you saying that just because there's articles out, it's lost their relationship? Or are you saying it's, tarnished some of the newness and the intimacy and privacy you have when you have a brand new relationship? But it's not ruined. Bethenny is taking it overboard because she feels the type of way. And that's the thing. She took the bait. And she's sitting here saying that she didn't take the bait, not knowing that she's actively taking the bait, because she's sitting here responding on a podcast about it. Talking about how because you put out articles and are talking to the press, you've now ruined your relationship. No, Bethenny.
Evidently, I have messaged with Olivia Culpo.
Oh, you have?
I reached out to
Olivia. I thought it was Aurora.
This media spectacle got out of hand. And she responded to me, which is sweet because she just got married.
So she had to let people know. Oh, just got married. So I guess Paul and this chick are no longer. Let me go back. This is strange.
And I think that everybody lost in this situation because their actions cost them their relationship, which was brand new, and who knows what would have happened. Incidentally, I have messaged with Olivia Culpo. I reached out to her before
they broke
this
up.
media
Obviously,
spectacle
what I
got
have
out
on
of
the
hand.
screen.
And she responded to me, which is sweet because she just got married. And she was really nice and said she's a fan. And
so
she has
they move fast. Hold the fuck up. I can't even get the timeline. So apparently, because it wasn't too long ago that we saw about Paul being, dating and this, that, and other. I guess it's not the same chick, Aurora Copo. But now we have the news that Aurora Copo and Paul have broken up after 2 months of dating. But now Bethenny is saying that she's married to somebody else. And they've talked and chatted, and these people move fast.
And she really looks up to me, and that was really kind. And
she had to let people know that she looks up to her, and she's the cool one, and Paul's not.
It was actually a nice warm blanket during this whole crazy thing. So maybe she'll come on the podcast. Congratulations, Olivia.
LOL.
I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful life with your new husband. So I hope you had a better week than I did. I hope.
Why does she keep calling her Olivia? Because page 6 has this on as Aurora. Hold on, let me do some research real quick. Because she's saying Copa, and that's the chick's last name. Oh, let's look for a second. Gonna get this straight. Yeah, Bethenny Frankel calls ex-fiancés Paul Burns' new romance with Aurora Copa gutting. It's embarrassing. Bethenny finally addressed her breakup with ex-fiancé Paul Burns. So then today, just like that, we hear that they're broken up. And that was at 11:33 a.m. today. We hear that they've broken up, this Aurora. However, Bethenny keeps calling this chick Olivia. I don't know why she's calling her Olivia. Shade. But page 6 is calling her Aurora. So they were dating. Bethenny had apparently at some point has talked to her because now, as of today, it's an exclusive that Paul and Aurora have broken up after 2 months of dating. And then somehow this chick is married. What the fuck is going on in Hollywood? What is going on? That makes no sense.
Something you can take away from this. But I love you all. I'm good. I'm happy. And I'm single.
Okay,
who knows?
Get out
Maybe
there,
at some
girl.
point I'll be ready to start dating again.
Okay. So that's the gist of it, you guys. Bethenny is single, ready to mingle. She's talked to the girl. Apparently, them having this out and about and having the press in it and all the articles coming out about meeting the parents and meeting the kids and them, committing themselves to each other ultimately came to the demise of a very quick romance, whirlwind romance, to the point where now it's being reported just today that they have broken up. Bethenny has stated that she's talked to the girl who is such a big fan of Bethenny and looks up to Bethenny, was so glowing and super nice over Bethenny, is getting married and or is married to someone else that quickly. And strange things. Poor Paul is somewhere out in the wind somewhere, having Bethenny Frankel doing a podcast about him, talking about how she's very pleased that they are no longer together because there was many things she had to come into terms with for her to be happy about being out of this relationship. Interesting. So I'm going to leave you guys there. Bethenny's single. Her and Luann are no longer friends. Paul is single too. He's probably still out on those apps. Raya, Tinder. What do they have? What's the other one? Hinge. Out on all those apps, trying to get his next one. But coming off of a 6-year engagement, if there's a woman who knows who he is, I'm sure they might be wary of jumping into a relationship with him. He needs to set for a while. Just set for a second, okay? Figure it out, be with yourself for a hot second and then try again. Don't be trying to get into anything exclusive. That's too much too soon. But I will see you guys in another video. Think about liking, think about subscribing. If not, I completely understand, but it would completely make my day, and I will chat with you a little later.